Peer coaching is helping underclassmen achieve academic success.
Who would make a good peer coach? Like, would I make a good peer coach?
I mean, it depends on who you are yourself. If you are positive,
responsible,
loves to help, smart, well-rounded.
You need to also be able to keep people in line. Like, you need to not go in and goof around. You need to go in and take it serious.
In the end, it's not about us, it's about them. It's about making sure that they get to where they need to be in life and have these life lessons and these life achievements to them.
But what if you're like a negative person, like you came like just like, eh?
Well, you need to change your attitude.
How would you be able to discipline a kid?
First, you have to know that you are friends with them before you are able to yell at them. So you have to be cool with them so they won't cry and take it personally.
If you don't have a relationship with the kids, then they're just going to look at you like, I'm not going to listen to you.
I take their phones away, actually.
For the first probably week or two, I was pretty nervous. I came to my class and just kind of sat in there and just kind of sat at the back of the room, sort of walked around, and just kind of was nervous. But then after probably the first 2 weeks, you kind of break out of your shell and it just starts coming natural. And then, I mean, a month into it, you're doing the same thing your teachers would, and it's just very natural after that.
once you start building that relationship with them and you figure out, you know, what's going on in their personal life, you get really attached to them just like you'd get attached to your friend, you know, and it becomes really difficult at times to be around knowing what they're going through, and sometimes you can't separate yourself from them, if that makes sense. You become so attached to them that you care a lot, and there's just really, you know, nothing you can do about it. You just have to just kind of cross your fingers and hope that, you know, everything that you've done will kind of get to their head and they'll make the right choices.
How's the relationship between you and the teacher?
Well, I was fortunate enough to get a teacher who has embraced me with open arms. This is the second year I've peer coached for her, and she utilizes me for everything. I work really hard, and she respects my judgment, and she treats me as an equal. It's not always like that. Some teachers aren't as open to you.
The teacher just kind of looks past you and doesn't acknowledge that you're there to help the kids. Then you don't really get to do anything.
I've been a peer coach for 2 years now, and the first year my teacher was very supportive, and which makes all the difference. The second year my teacher wasn't as supportive as the teacher before, and I had to cope with shielding my kids from all the negativity. And Miss Smith asked me if I wanted to move into a different class, but I didn't feel comfortable leaving my kids after building a relationship with them.
I think the peer coaches make it more easygoing. Sometimes the teacher can go too fast. They teach all day. They have up to 150 students. And when you have a peer coach, it's a lot easier because you can ask the peer coach without being scared to frustrate the teacher or other people hearing you ask questions. Just like an extra person in class, just make it more easygoing.
It makes it easier for me to give my students one-on-one individual attention so that the peer coaches watch the majority of the class where I go and work with each student and make sure they're understanding, especially with my bilingual kids.
Since we are in the United States, there are a lot of people who don't speak English and they come from a different country. And obviously your teachers, they don't speak all those languages from all these foreign countries, and so they can't really help them and they can't give them the kind of personal attention they need to learn a language. So being a peer coach to help them really makes the journey more smooth, especially if they're having trouble when they first get to the country. They can definitely have a lot of comfort finding someone to relate to, and they see someone who speaks 2 languages as a sort of a role model that you can speak 2 languages, watching them interact with the class and them.
Whenever a teacher has a peer coach, it's a personal teaching assistant. Everything that I do, my peer coaches do. So take attendance, check grades, pass out papers, grade papers, interact with the students, small group teaching. By them doing that, it's basically putting 2, and in some of my classes I have 2 peer coaches, so 3 teachers, 3 instructional people into a classroom, which ultimately benefits everyone.
I've seen a student who usually struggles with English, usually struggles with peer interaction and the ability to stay focused in the classroom, flourish with a peer coach.
I think it's just a good thing to be a part of, and like it's all about that moment where one of your students comes up to you and after just taking like a EOC benchmark and getting like a 6 on their writing, that's like the best they'd ever done. It just makes you feel like, yeah, I'm part of something.
Do you accept the challenge?
Do you accept the challenge?
Do you accept the challenge?
Do you accept the challenge?